After visiting this fish room a couple years ago, Scott invited me back to film and pick up some fish since he was downsizing some of his smaller tanks. He really does have a great selection, primarily of African cichlids and livebearers. So come join Scott and I as we have a conversation about all of his fish. All right, so our first tank here is a 75-gallon tank. I know these fish well. I actually have some of these fish from Scott. So Scott, go ahead and tell me what these are.
The red Murano Tropheus Moori. Had this colony for a very long time. Yeah, they've been breeding for a while. I've been selling them off and they get a little too crowded in the tank. And then I kind of got attached to this group, and I thought I'd try a different group later on. I like them a lot too. They're easy to breed. I don't have to do anything special. I let them, raise up and they spit them out, and then they grow up in the tank. They don't eat the babies. At least I don't think they eat too many of them. They seem to repopulate pretty quickly.
Yeah, like I said, this is one of my favorite fish. Actually, I have some of my favorite fish in my fish room as well. So, might haven't bred yet, but I'm sure they'll get there.
Takes a little while.
So let's head over to this next 75-gallon.
Yeah, I got the yellow rock. Another set of, I've had these cremenses for a long time. They're really hard to keep because they do eat their babies a lot. And I don't really go through the effort of trying to separate the babies anymore. It's too much work. But I'm looking to rehome these guys eventually. I'm trying to downsize my room a little bit. But they're cool fish. I like them because the females are colorful and the males are too. They're like Victorian fish.
Yeah, they're nice little, cool little fish for sure.
Yeah, and there's some babies in there you can kind of see.
I can see some holding females
yeah,
too.
There's a few of them in there. They don't stop. I got too many males in here though. I don't know if it's the water temperature or something that makes them. It seems like I get a lot more males than I do females, but I think the males live a lot longer too. Some of those guys are pretty darn old in that tank. I mean, I'll bet you some of those are 4 or 5 years old.
Now this next tank, I really like actually. Kind of a cool.
Yeah, I goofed up on this one here. I kept buying the Julidochromis in there, and I kept thinking I was getting the right ones, and I realized one day I got 3 different types of Julidochromis in there. One group's breeding, and they're keeping, if you look at the back of the tank, the other group's being pushed up against the wall. So I'm trying to get those guys out of there, and they won't let me catch them unless I tear everything out, and then I'm going to lose track of who's who.
Right.
Just slightly different. You can see the babies in there starting to come up out of the hole there.
Out of the shells.
Yeah, over there, the one group's breeding, and they scare everybody else off. So I need to separate these guys a little bit.
Looks like you got like a gold head compressiceps in there.
Yeah, I have one, and I moved him. He was fighting with the other one, so I moved the other one into this big tank here, get him out of the way. He's doing all right in that tank, despite the craziness in the bigger tank. But yeah, there's a nice breeding group of those guys in there. I just don't know which set it is. It's terrible, but I know they looked. When I got them at the auction, I thought it was the group I had before. I wanted to add to the population, and they ended up being the wrong ones. Yeah, there's some little fairy fins in there, and a couple of those left over. I used to have a lot of those Machardis before. Those are pretty hard fish. Yeah, and the group starts off, you can't keep adding to them.
Yeah, those I had those too, and I kind of.
You want the other? I got 2 more in there. I want to get rid of them. Oh. There must be 2 males that they haven't bred yet.
So let's head over to this next tank and these purple rainbow Tropheus.
Yeah, it's a nice little group. The same thing. I got them from a guy in the Michigan Cichlid Association named Aaron. He's a pretty good breeder with these things. Nice fish, really pretty. Nice colors on them. They breed in there pretty well, but not as they don't breed quite as quick as the group above them. The other Tropheus seem to breed a little quicker. But if you look hard enough in there, you see little babies in there once in a while. Really nice little fish.
Yeah, I like those.
Yeah, I like the stripes when they're little too. They're more colorful, I think, than the other ones are. There's a couple small ones on the bottom.
This tank has some pretty cool fish in it. It's got some pretty nice yellow labs in it, and then really like this Starry Night Cichlid as well.
Yeah, he's some of my pets. He likes to be hand-fed. I've had him for a long time, and sometimes he's not so bright. You really got to kind of taunt him. He's real prehistoric, but he's a cool little fish. I call him Ron. I named him after my buddy. Sometimes he'll grab these treats and it'll look like he's smoking a cigarette, so it'll be sticking out of his mouth. And it's kind of funny to watch him do that. Yeah, it's a weird tank. It's like a 5-foot long, 75 gallon. And I just kind of keep it comfortable for him.
So this tank I think is pretty cool. So like little rainbow fish, a little bit of gourami. Looks like some maybe Ameca splendens.
Ameca splendens Rio.
Yeah.
Last year I put some of those out in my tub and they did okay. This year I had my swords are like a hybrid. I've been kind of playing around with them a little bit to try to get some spots on the orange ones, but for some reason, again, I put I think about 9 males in the tub outside just to make rooms. I wanted just the better males in there. I wouldn't call it culling, but get them out of the water. Yeah, these plants are going crazy in here. I mean, I bought a bulb at the Ohio Cichlid Association, and that big bunch in the middle came out of that one bulb. And I've actually had flower in there, and I've had smaller, replanted a few of them here and here. It came from that original plant. But yeah, you gotta keep that tank groomed, otherwise the water doesn't move or anything in there, and it's a bit of a mess now, but I think it gives the fish a little places to hide and stuff. I don't heat that tank either, it's at room temperature. The other fish I usually keep heated, but the ones with the plants I usually don't. That's, right now it's probably, what, 72 in here?
All right, so now this one, quite a few swordtails in here.
Yep.
So Rio Otape Swordtails.
Yep, got these from Greg Sage years ago, and they've been breeding like crazy. You can see them coloring up. There's a nice male right there.
Yeah, it's a really nice fish.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I've been keeping them by themselves, and I'll grab a couple males out of there to mix with those oranger ones to get the spots on the orange fish on the other tank. I don't crossbreed them back. These are all the original ones. They're not mixed up. Some of them have spots on them, and some of them don't. Kind of like the tigery spots on them.
Yeah, nice. That's a nice, cool little fish for sure.
And these guys are my group of buffalo heads. Couldn't get them to breed for years, and all of a sudden they started making babies. And I don't know if they'll come out or not, because they're real shy anyway.
Now, what I think is kind of cool in this tank is you actually have some mollies in here as well. Some really nice big sailfin mollies.
Yeah, I got those from. They're not from Greg Sage, but they were from the guy that has them. There was the ones that were on the cover of the Livebearers magazine, or the logo on the American Livebearers Association. They brought a little bit in here. I got a really old female left over and a couple of males. I need to see if I can find a better home. But I haven't really had time to do anything with those.
It's actually funny. Actually, I think I have some fry from these same fish. I think there's a guy out here who has them.
Yeah,
get them at the auction.
I got these guys. I mail order from a guy in California.
Oh, okay.
He had on his website. So I was going to do all these exotic, rare live breeders, and I never got this group to take off. So they're nice. I mean, I'm happy with. I really like these buffalo heads. They remind me. We used to have pug dogs at home, and they kind of remind me of little dogs we used to have. That's why I originally got them.
They're kind of cool little fish.
Yeah, they don't come out much, but when they do, they're after the food. They go nuts. Yeah, this was I tried to do that Dustin's dirted tank thing here, and it didn't work so well for the. Every time you do anything with this, it just gets all dusty in here. I keep changing the water and trying to siphon it out. It just never goes away.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't use that technique unless you put like just a minimal amount of soil on the bottom. This is what happens. They start kicking it around, and it looks terrible.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that myself.
No,
but
it's just messy.
Let's talk about this large tank. That's really the centerpiece of this fish room.
It started off as a colony of Tropheus, and they were kind of shy, and I added in some rainbows and some of these other Julidochromis Johannesburg, and this orange fish. And then somehow I ordered some African fish, and that big tilapia in there came with the big Lake Victorians. He looked a lot like him when he was a smaller fish, but he's like about 7 inches longer than the rest of them are right now.
I mean, you could eat that fish.
I know you could. They're food fish in Africa, but I've had him for so long, and
he's like family now.
Yeah, I know. It's just tears that tank up though. But yeah,
he's as big as your dog.
Yeah, he could probably feed us today if we wanted to fillet him. But I got that other yellow compressor sep in there. He's a little tough little dude. Yeah, these fish are good, and I've had a lot of these fish for a long time.
So I definitely hope you enjoyed following along with Scott and I as we walk through his fish room and talk about all of his fish. In the cards here at the end of the video, I'll go ahead and put a link to the first video I did when I toured Scott's fish room. So with that being said, stay safe, stay fishy, and I'll catch you on the next video.